Hi, I'm Dr. Dean Eggett and this is
Fran.
Today we're talking about weight loss drugs. The reason why we're talking about weight loss drugs is because it's just changed into a new contract year for general practice, so things change up a little bit for us, and that's on the 1st of April every year things change. So we thought we'd talk new contract stuff.
Yeah, so as a patient, I've just heard I can come and get the weight loss drug. So I'm here, sat down going, Dean, give me the miracle cure.
Yes, so it hit the headlines just before the contract changed.
Yep.
So we thought on the 1st of April, all patients are suddenly going to come rushing to their GP saying, you can now prescribe me the fat jabs, can I have the fat jabs? And you know, I'm using the term fat jab, not because that's what I would call it as a GP, but that's what the headlines call it. So please excuse the terminology fat jabs. So your question is, can you have the fat jab?
Yes, please.
Yes and no.
Right, okay, the yes bit sounds okay, the no bit sounds why not?
Yeah, so the yes bit is the NHS headline of GPs will now prescribe anti-obesity or anti-weight, or should I say weight loss injections.
Right.
And the injection that we're talking about is a drug called tirzepatide, and its brand name, people will know it by Mounjaro. So
yeah.
it's that world of, you know, the Ozempics of this world, but this one's called Mounjaro. So the NHS's drug and substances use group, that's probably not a really good way of phrasing it, but you know, the group who helps decide whether the NHS is going to do something is called NICE, and they've looked at the drug and said, yes, we think that that is going to be useful for patients, okay, and there's a cost benefit, meaning that it's worth spending money on to help the population. So they said you can now start to use the fat jabs in primary care in general practice.
Brilliant.
And in theory,
where's the no?
The no, great question. So the no is that just because the group said that we can use it doesn't mean to say that we're contracted by the NHS to use it. So bear with me on this one, okay. I apologise. General practice is complicated, but GPs will do what the government contract them to do. So we are contractors to the NHS,
yeah.
And if the NHS, the government says we would like you to do X, Y and Z, we say okay, put it in the contract and pay us to do it, pay our time, pay our staff, pay our heating and lighting. And if they don't put it in a contract, we'll say, well, you said you'd like to do it, but you never paid us to do it, so we're not necessarily going to do it.
Okay.
This is one of those.
Okay.
So the government...
So it's down to the payment that comes in.
Yeah.
So then are the rules to go with it?
Yes, so there's payment and there's rules. So at the moment across England it's a bit of a postcode lottery. So some areas will probably have a contract saying, please can you give this to patients, here's the contract.
Yeah. And
some areas like the area that we're in here in Doncaster doesn't have a contract. So when a patient comes in theory I can give it, but in reality I'm not contracted to give it.
Okay.
But the rules are, if I had a contract to give it and therefore my team were ready to give it, the rules are that if you have a body mass index, yeah, of 35 or greater, right, or 32.5 if you're from a BAME group, an ethnic minority, then you are eligible for it as long as you have one medical condition that is weight associated with that weight.
Such as?
Type 2 diabetes, okay, heart disease, a high cholesterol level. So if you have that 35 or above, or 32.5 or above if you're from a BAME background, yeah, plus one of those conditions, in theory your GP is allowed to prescribe it for you, okay, assuming there's a contract in place for your GP to actually prescribe it for you.
So if I'm in one of those groups,
yep,
can I just walk in, say to the doctor, and they go, here you go, and that's it, bye? Well,
kind of. I mean, all drugs have pros and cons, okay, side effects. Yeah. So what your GP is going to do this year is proactively contact everybody with a body mass index of 35 or above who's eligible for this, and we'll contact you. Oh, okay. Yeah, so you're going to get a text message or a letter or a phone call out of the blue saying, you're fat. Yeah, yeah.
Thanks.
You're eligible. You're eligible may be the phrase.
It might be a better one.
But read between the lines. Would you like to have a chat about your weight? Okay. And amongst the chat about that weight, we'll be talking about lifestyle, diet, exercise, but also importantly, an offer of a medicine. Okay. Now that offer of a medicine, if there's that contract in place, might be I can prescribe it for you. Yeah. If there's no contract in place, then it will be I can refer you to the hospital to get it.
Okay.
But we know that, referrals to hospitals...
Yeah, they might happen, they might not.
It's not going to happen.
Okay.
Not that we don't refer you, it's just that when we get referred, it'll get bounced back and told no. So there's a gap there of people actually being able to get this drug.
So that's it from a patient point of view, from what the NHS can and can't offer. Okay, and now I've heard all about that jab, so I'm going to look at going private.
Okay.
Okay. Do they have rules that they have to stick to? Do they have... What's it like if I just go private?
It depends what you mean by private. So private can be going to a doctor that you happen to find somewhere, such as Harley Street or something, and saying, look, I'd like help losing weight.
Yeah.
And they don't have the same tight rules as the NHS has. So they might prescribe it to lower body mass index.
Yeah.
They might not look for any of those other examples of weight-associated medical problems.
Yeah.
So in theory, the access to the drug is easier, but of course, there's the cost.
Yes.
So that's if you access a doctor who randomly operates somewhere, but most people will access private healthcare in this way via their local pharmacy, for example.
Yeah.
Now, pharmacies tend to work via, I'm not going to get too complicated on this, but via an authority called a PGD, a patient group directive.
Okay.
And those patient group directives give strict rules as to when it can and can't be given.
Okay.
And usually it works on that body mass index of 35 or slightly lower again for the BAME groups.
Right.
In some PGDs, actually, I'm sorry about this, in some of these paper rules, you might actually find that a body mass index of being overweight actually qualifies you.
Yeah.
So that's a body mass index of just above 25 actually.
Okay.
So you might even get it with a body mass index of 26.
Right. I have friends that have been or are on it and they've gone private of some way. I think they've Googled it, okay, but they're paying for it. Do you, as a doctor, get to know what's happening, or do I, as a patient, have to come and tell you?
So the private provider, like I said, usually the pharmacy, they tend to send us a letter saying, we have started this medication for your patient, please let us know if this is a problem.
Okay.
And we then put a note in the medical record saying the patient is taking this, so that we make sure there's no interactions with anything else that they're taking.
Right. Another question that has come to me is the fact that people have said that their doctors have said no, despite being type 2 diabetes, and at the point of question body mass index was higher, but told, oh no, you had an operation. I've had one that was said gastric band that failed, and another one said gallbladder out. Is there any conditions that are known that I can't? Yes, and there's quite a few actually, but it's just understanding a little bit about how the drug works. So the drug mimics a chemical in your body that's released in your intestine down here next to your gallbladder and liver that affects your stomach and your food pipe, and it makes you feel like your stomach is really bloated and full, and therefore it slows down food transit through your food pipe in your stomach. In slowing that transit down, it can give a bit of indigestion, it can give that fullness, bloated sensation, it might even make you feel nauseous, like you've had a really big meal. Okay. Now the problem about that then is that if you have a condition that predisposes you to gallstones, this will make it a great deal worse, or may make it a great deal worse. So if you've got gallstone problems, this drug is not for you. Right. It will interact with how your pancreas works, which is over here, that spits out chemicals when you've eaten. If you're known to have pancreas problems, this drug is not for you. Right. If you're known to have any bowel problems where slowing down of transit is a problem for you, this drug is not for you. So there are quite a number of reasons then why actually this drug might not suit you. So when you were talking about going privately, what the private provider usually does is has a cursory check of your NHS record. Now there's a little access called a summary care record. Okay. And the private provider can have a quick look at what's in your summary care record and say, is there a reason why I shouldn't give this drug? And if there's anything in there, they might say, I'm sorry, no, this drug is not for you. But they'll also check with you. Right. They'll then send a letter to the GP saying, I've given this, please make sure you're happy with it too. So there's like 3 levels of safeguards of whether or not it's okay to get the drug. 1, speak to you. 2, check your medical record. And then 3, write to your GP.
So it's not that simple.
I don't know. I think it's pretty simple. You know,
is it worth it?
It depends. It depends what you mean, because you know, if I'm overweight with a body mass index of 26,
right,
which I probably am, by the way.
Well, I know mine's 31 only because I did it before that. So trying to work out whether I would be qualified or not.
In theory, then, we may both be eligible privately, but not via the NHS.
Okay.
So if I went to a private provider and said, my body mass index is 26, I would like to lose weight because I think it will help protect my heart for the future, it'll make me more energetic, all of these perceptions of what losing weight will do. In theory, the chemist might say, yeah, Dean, that's not a problem. So the access is actually reasonably simple in that way. But where it's not simple is via the NHS.
Okay.
Because I'd have to go to my GP and say I've got a body mass index of 35, which I haven't, so I'm not going to be eligible from that perspective. But I would also then have to have that second condition, such as diabetes, which I haven't, so I'm not going to be eligible from that perspective. And then if I have got a body mass index that's high and a medical problem, I'm likely to be taking a bunch of other drugs. I might have a few other medical problems, some of which may stop me getting the offer of that drug anyway.
Okay.
So privately, it's reasonably accessible and positive. It has many positive health benefits. From the NHS, at the moment, it's still pretty hard to get.
Okay. So, final question.
Yeah.
And it's the long-term use of it. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, is there anything in, I don't know, can I be on it for a year? Is there a short-term? Is there anything out there that says, where's the long-term?
I think at the moment that's I was going to say $1 million question, but actually that's the multi-billion-dollar gamble that many of these companies who have invented it are taking. Because what we do know so far is that when you use this drug, you're likely to lose weight. Not everyone will lose weight, but you're likely to lose weight.
Right.
So your body mass index then comes into that normal range of 20 to 25. You stop the drug, guess what happens to your weight? It climbs back up. So you may then restart it, or the big question is, do we now need to consider people taking a maintenance dose long term to keep at that weight? No answer to that yet.
Right.
But, you know, bet your bottom dollar what the drug companies want the answer to be. So then the real question behind that is, well, what's the downside of taking this drug for your lifetime? Because it may be a really long-term thing, just like, you know, aspirin, you take one every day for the rest of your life to prevent a heart attack. Is this the new type of aspirin where you have the injection once a week to prevent you from gaining weight and all those associated problems? Now, the drug hasn't been on the market long enough yet to know really long-term problems, but we already know there are some associated side effects. I talked about the downsides, problems with the pancreas, problems with the gallbladder, problems with bowel blockages. There's even a question of a problem with the thyroid gland.
Okay.
So we don't yet know, one, do you need to stay on it forever to keep your weight? And two, what's the consequence of that? Other than making companies really wealthy, and shareholders, of course. So
I just wondered whether there's a conversation to have with your doctor beforehand about other ways of dealing with nutrition first.
Funnily enough, you should mention that, because as part of the NHS wraparound care, as well as the BMI of 35 and the condition, you have to agree to wraparound care around you, which means engaging with some sort of dietary process, engaging with some sort of movement activity process, and lack of engagement in those wraparound care services mean the drug stops.
Right.
So in the NHS, the only way you're going to get the drug is to agree to those changes.
Which seems sensible.
Absolutely, because we don't really want people on the drugs forever. But in several years' time, when the drugs come out of they call it a license, which means that it will become hugely cheaper, and then the NHS is going to want to use it more. Does that change where we are in using it as a maintenance? Because, you know, it could be 10 a penny.
Interesting questions.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? So should I summarise for you?
Yes, I think so.
So in summary, if you want the fat jab on the NHS, it's a postcode lottery at the moment as to if your GP is going to give it to you. This next year, your GP should be proactively contacting you if you have a body mass index of 35 or more with a medical condition to say, can we have a chat about your weight and lifestyle and talk about medicines available? If you actively go to your GP and ask, they may find you eligible for it, but your GP may not be able to prescribe it for you. They may try to get access to it via a hospital. If your GP can prescribe it for you, then they're going to expect you to engage with wraparound care. Outside of the NHS, you can get it from many private providers, including pharmacies, where the restrictions on access are much lower to getting that drug. You just need to have a body mass index in the overweight range, which is above 25. So, pretty straightforward to get.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. It's another one of those watch this space, isn't it? Let's find out what happens in a few months' time to a year's time and into the future when we find out the drug costs 10 a penny and
everybody's on it.
Guidelines change, yeah.
I then can eat anything they want.
Just out of interest, to just finish, at that point, will you be on it?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't believe in it.
Okay, let's pause there and we'll check again later. Cheers, Fran.
Thanks.